Hi, so I thought I would do a bit of a collection tour, sort of a historical record where everything stands as of, I believe this was recorded on April 9th, 2020. So yeah, let's get started. So my video game collection is actually split up into three major parts. We've got the armoire over here, which is just an old TV armoire that we had in our house. We have the console tower, which is currently being obscured by the door, and the shelf, as I call it. So we'll start here. We'll start from the bottom here. This is where I keep all my controllers. I have them by Nintendo and not Nintendo. So I got like Genesis and Dreamcast and Master System and PlayStation. And I think Panasonic 3DO's in here. I don't know. So, and then I got Nintendo. Of course, gotta have your zappers and everything. Moving up, I have some handheld consoles. This was a Game Boy I got way back when. I got a bunch of Game Gears, all in a lot for like 20 bucks. And this was the only one that worked. So I just kind of keep it there. I rarely play it because they burn through batteries so quickly. And then I got Blip. I hate this thing. I got it for Savers at for $2 and have it in the box, and it's just not fun at all. It's brutally difficult. And then I got all of my Wii games, as well as Wii U, Xbox. I don't really have an Xbox, I don't think. I don't know if the Xbox 360 is backwards compatible, but I got PS2, GameCube, and some Genesis, and then this one Super Nintendo game. It's the only boxed Super Nintendo game I have, and it's actually sealed. I got it a long time ago, before I even had a Super Nintendo. I got it for like $20. But then got some notable titles. Ray Paulo Wii Fish, gotta have it. Eminem's Kart Racing, so bad. I mean, so good. Chicken Shoot, ooh. Some really great titles. Curious George, fantastic. Seriously though, a lot of my Wii games have been chewed up by my dogs, but I replaced the cases with these just generic black cases so that they fit nice on a shelf and everything. Moving on up, we have a little Gameboy display. Going on to my Game Boy games. This is just how I store my Game Boy games. These are actually the cases that the glasses that my family wears came in. So I just asked them for all the cases, and I store Game Boy games in here. You can pretty easily flip through them, see which ones they are. Then I have this here. This is a boxed Game Boy, as you can see. Got it a long time ago. The only thing it's missing is the headphones right there. So I'm keeping an eye out for those, but moving that to the side. We got all my Super Nintendo games. Notable titles here. Got Yoshi's Island, Super Double Dragon, Turtles 4, Mario All-Stars. And then of course up here, I have the Holy Trinity, as I call them. And of course, you gotta have your Super Game Boy. These things are awesome. They're really good priced, but they're just really good. N64, I made my own end labels for these. I just took some masking tape and cut them to the seams on the actual cartridges. So yeah, so I made some of those. Notable titles here. I'm actually missing a bunch of Nintendo 64 games that I would like to have, but I have Star Fox and Smash Bros. And GoldenEye, and Mario 64 is actually in the system, I think. Paper Mario. And then I have some of these boxes. This one I actually got for free, and it still has the seal on it, but it's not, it's open, but it just has the shrink wrap on it. And this one I actually traded a friend for. I don't even have this game. He just had the box and manual, and I thought, ooh, that's a pretty cool item, I want that. So I traded him for it. Moving on up, I have a little Game Boy. Display. The Game Boy was probably the first actual thing I started collecting for. I started with this Game Boy down here, actually. This was my first Game Boy that I got probably 5 years ago. I've been collecting ever since. This one was actually donated to me. It doesn't work. I got this one as well as the black one, and then a yellow one, which I gave away for like $40 way back when you could get Game Boy Pockets for like $12. This Game Boy Color, I think I got this at a garage sale. Same with this one. I got that for like $5. I was really happy for that. And then this Game Boy, this was one that my brother gave me when I was probably like 6 years old. This is the first console I ever had. And he just gave it to me. I don't know why. Then I have my 96, I think, NES games. One of them is missing. I've got Super Mario and Duck Hunt upstairs because I just keep it there with the Nintendo. So yeah, some notable titles: Bubble Bobble, Castlevania. Those are two of my favorites. Excite Bike, Duck Hunt, DuckTales, Lolo. There's a lot of trilogies on NES. I've noticed you got Lolo trilogy, Double Dragon trilogy, Donkey Kong I think is a trilogy, Castlevania is a trilogy. Mario of course is a trilogy. I think Tecmo Bowl might be a trilogy. Turtles I know is a trilogy. I think that's most of them, but there's a lot. I don't know why. But yeah, Metroid, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Mega Man. Yeah. Then over here, I just started collecting for Master System, and it's been really fun. I've been playing through Wonder Boy 3, and Astro Warrior was the first one that I got, really just a test. Because I got a power base converter, which we'll see in a second. I didn't even know that I got it until I got it in the mail. I just made an offer, and apparently they accepted it. So yeah, I've been collecting for that recently. And then up here, I have a boatload of Intellivision games. Intellivision was the first, or no, not the first, but one of the main consoles that my dad had way back in the 70s and 80s. And he really likes Intellivision, and he kind of rubbed that off on me, so I got a lot of Intellivision games. I got Duck Hunt in the box right here. I got this for like $15 on Craigslist, and I thought it was a really good deal. So, even though it has this tear right here, but maybe if I get a better one someday, I'll replace it. Then, of course, got the Holy Trinity, Super Mario World, Link to the Past, Super Metroid. This is probably my favorite game, but they look nice together. And then way up here at the top, I have a Sega Saturn box, which is actually, I got a Panasonic 3DO at a garage sale in this box for $10. It was so confusing. Anyway, they didn't have the Saturn for some reason, but I just keep cords in here. I think I have some spare Super Nintendo controllers in here. This Mattel Electronic Football, this is the original 1977 release, and I love playing this thing. This thing is super fun. I play it with my dad sometimes when we're going to real football games at the high school. Sometimes I'll bring this and we'll play around a football. Got that at Half Price Books for $15. In the box, has the instructions, all the styrofoam in there, and of course it works. That was a really great find. And then I have a bunch of Ataris. Of course I have one that's hooked up, but I have the 6-switch Heavy 6 or Sears Telegames. This is the Vader model. You can see the 2600 logo. And then this one way up here is just a normal 6-switch, a light 6er. But yeah, so that's the shelf. So that's where I keep a good portion of my games. Oh, this game, Communist Mutants from Space, that is awesome. I don't even have what's it called? An Arcadia Supercharger. But I had to get that game. I got it for like $20 on eBay. I saw it and I needed it. Oh, and down here, I have my Super Scope. I don't even know if it works, but I haven't really tested it a whole lot. Got some books that I need to put somewhere, but I don't really have a spot right now. As you can see, I've got a bit of a space issue. So I got Nintendo Power magazines. I get these at Half Price Books for like $3 or $4 whenever I go. But I usually only get like the main, like if they have a nice cover, like Wario Land, that's a major release, Star Fox. So if they've had like a game that I know, then I'll get them. I also got this at Half Price Books, How to Win at Game Boy Games by Jeff Roven. I've been looking for the How to Win at Nintendo games, but I found this one and I couldn't pass it up. And of course, the official Nintendo Player's Guide. I have this. I got it my mom was at an estate sale because I was sick at home, and she texted me and she was like, "Do you want this?" And I was like, "Yes, please get that." It has the original stickers in the back. I think I got it for $5. I was super excited to get that. It's fun flipping through back when there was only 90 Nintendo games. Over here I got some Intellivision stuff that I'm selling. So a lot of people don't like second gen, but I really like second generation. So we'll see most of my second gen stuff when we move on. But yeah, that's the shelf. So just to the side, behind the door of the armoire, I have what I call the tower, the console tower. And it's where I keep all of my AV consoles that use the red, yellow, and white cables composite, I can't remember what they're called. Except the Wii, I don't have that in here. But yeah, and then I also keep my PlayStation and Dreamcast games in there. So, I don't usually play those, but they're fine there. I don't really mind not displaying them. So, Sega Genesis, of course you got half your power base converter. Wonder Boy 3, it's a little bit torn, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Panasonic 3DO, this thing is garbage. I don't have any games for it, but I got it, like I said, I got it at that garage sale for $10. And it's a Panasonic 3DO. You can't pass that up. Moving down, I got the Super Nintendo. I have a lot of just knickknacks, Nintendo stuff in here. I got a Little Mac amiibo back when it was like super duper rare. I just kind of happened across one and I was super excited, but now it's like worthless. Moving down, you got your Nintendo 64. I think these actually are McDonald's toys. I can't remember. Yeah, these are McDonald's toys. Oops. But yeah, I got a couple of those. They just make nice display pieces. And then Dreamcast and GameCube. I got this Dreamcast at a garage sale for like, I think $20 with all of the Dreamcast games that I have. I never got any more. But the guy also had a Genesis and a Master System that he wasn't going to part with at the time, but I mean, oh well. I eventually did get my Master System, so that's all right. And then I have a PlayStation with a memory card. I found this at Savers. It was in the sporting goods section. Like, they had golf clubs and baseball mitts and baseball bats, and then this was just kind of thrown in there. And like a week or so later, I found another one, and I was going to buy it and resell it. And I realized, wait a minute, PlayStation 1s are worthless and nobody wants them. But it did have a game in it. Doesn't have it in there right now. But it had, I think, Crash Team Racing in it. So I asked them, hey, can I just buy this game? And they were like, yeah, sure. But yeah, so that's one of a couple PlayStations that I have. And overall, that's the tower. Oh, and up here, of course, this is how I switch between my consoles. All of the consoles in this tower are hooked up right here. All the cords are so heavy, this thing always falls back. So I just gotta make sure it doesn't fall all the way back into the abyss. But yeah, that's the tower. Moving on to the heart of my collection, this is the armoire. It's where I keep my TV, it's where I keep a lot of my second-gen consoles, and as you can see, it's where I store a lot more of my games. So just starting up here, I have a box Atari. I think I got this for like $50 at a garage sale down the street. I know it's not the greatest deal, but I sold the Atari that I had before and made back most of my money. Of course, the one that I had before didn't have the box. This is where I store all of my Game Boy Advance games, just in this box. I know it's not the greatest way to do it, but right now, because I have such a storage issue, it's probably the best thing I can do. I got this box to my Nintendo, just the box, and some of the styrofoam in it for, I think, 20 bucks at a garage sale, which at first I thought was kind of an deal, but looking back on it, it was a really great deal, and I'm glad to have the box. Up there is the box to my Commodore 64. That's actually upstairs. I might do a little upstairs portion as well, but we'll see. And then I got just a spare 4 switch. I don't even know if it works. I don't think it does. Maybe I'll destroy it someday. It's not really worth fixing it. And then over here, I have a bunch of boxed Nintendo games. So, me being a little kid who can hardly drive himself to garage sales or anything to buy video games, sometimes when my parents can't drive me to garage sales, I will just kind of walk to them. And this one was 4 houses down. I got probably 60% of all of my Nintendo games and a bunch of Genesis games, top loader, front loader, and I think 2 Genesis systems, all for $60. And I ran home to get some more money, because I didn't bring that much with me. And when I got back, the guy had all of these boxes, and he said, "Oh, I don't know if you want these boxes, but I figured I'd pull them out for you." And he just threw them in with the $60. So I got some really good ones. Super Mario Bros. 3, that one's excellent condition. Oh, and all of these are in, like, perfect condition. Like, there's nothing... They look brand new, and they're really incredible. But that's where I got most of my boxed Nintendo games. So yeah, some notable ones, like I said, Mario Bros. 3, Final Fantasy, NES Open Tournament Golf. I don't know if that's really a standout title, but I kind of like it. Kirby's Adventure, Adventure of Link. This is the gray cart version, which is a little bit more rare. And then these 4 Nintendo things I didn't get at that sale, but I just picked them up along the way. I think I got one of these at Half Price Books in the clearance section for like $1. And when I came home, it was actually different from the one that I had, so I figured I may as well keep one. And then over here, I have more boxes to Intellivision Games. These are the Coleco branded ones, and I have a single Sears Super Video Arcade, which is basically an Intellivision. It's like the Sears Video Arcade that Atari released. And over here, I have all of my Odyssey 2 games. But yeah, Casey Munchkin, probably my favorite. Although I do really like the bowling that's on this. And Speedway Spinout's also really fun. There's the box to my Magnavox Odyssey 2. And then up here, I have Quest for the Rings. It's like a board game that you overlay on your Odyssey 2. It's really strange. I also have a 7800 power adapter, just a box for some reason though. So, a story about my 7800, it's actually right here. I got it in a lot of like 6 or 7 Atari 2600s, and this guy said, "Here, I'll just throw this in. I don't even know if it works." And I remember he shook the console and it rattled, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not good." Probably some electronic parts stuck rattling around in there. And when I got home and opened it up, it was a wasp's nest that was in the system. But against all odds, it worked. So yeah, that's my 7800. I don't have it hooked up or anything. These are all the consoles that I just kind of have spare and loose. Genesis Model 2. Again, I don't really need that because I have the Model 1 plugged in. This is the, I can't really pull this out without disrupting the 7800. This is the Coleco expansion module number 1. It's actually an Atari that you plug into your ColecoVision, branded by Coleco, and you can play Atari games on it. So maybe if I really start running out of room, I'll use this to play my Atari games and ditch the 4-switch. Moving on, I have a spare Super Nintendo. It didn't have the power cord or anything with it, so I figured, it's gonna be too tough to sell. I may as well keep it as a spare. Maybe I'll trade it away for some games later. This PlayStation 1 is broken, and like I said, these things are really hard to sell, so I just kind of keep it here. And then this is just an NES rental box. I keep all my receipts in there when I buy stuff at stores. And this is my TV. This is a Hitachi. I don't know how big it is, but I've always had it. And it was the first TV that my parents got after they got married, or at least that's what they tell me. And it's a really nice CRT. Of course, gotta play your light gun games. I can't imagine having a setup without Duck Hunt. Over here, we have the fire hazard itself. We have my power cables all connected up here. And then we drilled these holes in the, there's one here, there's one here, there's one in the back corner over there, just so I can hook all my consoles up a lot easier. And this is where all of these consoles are hooked up, video-wise. So I just switched based on what this little chart that I made here tells me when I can play Atari and Intellivision. And this thing is for Magnavox Odyssey too. I thought this was really weird, but thank goodness it works. Because those RF modulators, they die on you all the time. I've got so many of these things that are just busted. Moving on down, we have, initially, this is just where I kept my front-loading Nintendo, my Atari, and my Intellivision. But as I got more and more consoles, I needed to make these shelves. So I made these shelves just out of spare boards that we had laying around. They turned out really nicely, and they allow me to store a bunch more consoles in here. And like I said, all of my consoles in here are hooked up, so I can... What I do is I have this box down here. I pull this out. I can take my Atari, set it on the box. That way I can flip all the switches that are necessary with the Atari. And it makes it, like, really cool, because you can see the console while you're playing it and whatnot. But yeah, so I got a Wii Mini. I got this, because I don't really care about Wii internet connection nowadays. It's probably all gone. Of course, got my Magnavox Odyssey 2. I got this, I don't know when, but I didn't get such a good deal. I think I got it for $80 with all the games and the boxes and whatnot. Not a bad deal, but maybe I should have waited and found it better somewhere else. This, like I said, was that excellent garage sale find. The NES top loader actually came with all the manuals and stuff. It was just missing the boxes for the consoles. This ColecoVision, I found it at Savers, a thrift store. I think it was listed for $130, but I eventually worked the price down to $50, and it came with 2 games, that expansion module, and a bunch of Atari games, which I actually sold and made back a lot of my money. So I think I ended up spending like $35 for a ColecoVision. This thing is awesome. I love the look of the ColecoVision. I think it's a really good looking console. Probably the best of the second generation. And then of course I have the Intellivision. This one actually isn't my dad's original Intellivision. I don't think his worked, and he said a long time ago he threw it out. Breaks my heart, but got this one here. It's really nice to have the actual consoles for all these games. But yeah, moving on. I have these 2 shelves, and we're gonna start with the top one. This is where I keep my boatload of Atari games. Atari is the system I have most of my games for. I think I have like 150 or so Atari games. Just briefly looking over, we got Adventure. I love basketball on Atari. Berserk is great. I don't know why they call it Breakaway 4. Sears Telegames are super weird. Circus Atari, Combat. I love Combat. E.T. Gotta have it, but not a good game. Dig Dug is really good on Atari. This is actually my favorite Atari game, Dragonfire. It's a really good game. It's got really good graphics. And of course, I keep all of my Atari games alphabetically organized. But yeah, gotta have Math, and that's a great one. Maze Craze is a really fun one. Really simple, but really good. Oh, I have this really rare, misprinted Polpositon. I don't know how they messed that up, but just a couple of these were printed. And you can find them pretty cheap. There's not really a market for them, but I think it's pretty funny. River Raid's a good one. Pitfall, gotta have it. Sears Telegames, Pac-Man. I don't know why, but seeing these ones with the different colors just kind of throws you off. Space War, this doesn't actually work. I want to get a working copy because that looks like a really fun game. Oh, and something I also do is I'll get both versions of a game if it came out in multiple versions, if I see the different versions. I know Space Invaders has a silver label version of itself, but Yeah. So you might see multiple Space Invaders. I know there's multiple combats over there. And of course, multiple positions. Just got some good games. Yar's Revenge. Superman is one of my dad's favorite. Honestly, I don't really get it. Donkey Kong and Zaxxon. These were the games that came with my ColecoVision. Then I also have all of my DS and 3DS games. I really want to get a better case for this. I hate GameStop for giving me all this garbage cases. Then I have some really obscure stuff. You know what these are? These are TI-99 4A games. Really obscure. But yeah, I don't even have my TI-99 4A in this room. And then over here, I have all of my Intellivision and, gotta have Action 52. Intellivision, Genesis, and a couple more TI-99 4A games. I hate storing my Genesis games like this, but at the time, this is really the best I can do. I'd love to have them displayed where I can at least see the end labels, but I don't really have a spot to do that in right now. So that's this top shelf. Moving on to the bottom shelf. This is just kind of where I keep all of my extra stuff. So I have in this spot over here, I have a bunch of handhelds. I always get these things at garage sales. Sometimes I trade them, sometimes I sell them. I got this at a garage sale. It's actually really fun. It's like a late 70s electronic poker game. Again, here are a couple more of my Game Gear systems. This I got in a big lot, and I actually ended up keeping it. So what I do is I buy a bunch of video games at once, and then I sell a lot of them, make back most of my money, and keep what I like. So this is something I kept. I'd always wanted one of the Play It Loud Game Boys ever since I got my original, but that's pretty great. My sister actually gave me her AGS 101 Gameboy Advance Sp. Got a great screen. These things, I didn't believe in them before, but they're not lying. These things are awesome. Got more Game Boy Pockets. I don't have the Game Boy camera and the Game Boy printer. These things are so weird, but weirdly fun. Merlin, I think I got that at a garage sale. Has the manual. This 3DS was covered in stickers. It works perfectly. I got it at a garage sale for $3. That was a great find. At that price, I don't even care if it's pink. Moving on, I have a lot of my paper and cardboard stuff, so I have this 10 gen seal of quality, 10 gen, 10 gen, who knows. And then I use these rental cases to store, like, these are all my Game Boy manuals, Game Boy Advance manuals, these are NES manuals. And then I keep all my Atari manuals just kind of in here. I have the Genesis manual and the NES manuals. This is the manual to the top loader. Oh, no, it's not. Where is that? I don't know. This bag, a friend of mine sold me a bunch of Nintendo manuals, and he gave me this bag as well. And I thought, gee, this is really weird. And I saw, oh, wait, 6 batteries? This is Virtual Boy. So this is the bag that the Virtual Boy would have came in when you got the box. So, like, you open the box and it's in the little baggie. This is that bag. I don't have a Virtual Boy, but I have this. Close enough for me. And then over here, I have just a lot of extra stuff, like Wii wheels and this amiibo my dog chewed up. Like little weird afro things. I don't like those. Link cables and all sorts. And I have the boxes to some of these 2DS systems that my brother and I got. Dreamcast extension cable. This is the receiver to the Super Scope. And, oh, gotta have your Thomas the Train plug-and-play. This thing is awesome. The best part about it, this game, is you run around and you pick up tickets. When you get 30 useful tickets, that's what they're called. They're called useful tickets. You know what you get? Oh, of course, you get a useful bonus. What does it do? Nothing. It does nothing. The useful bonus does nothing. So disappointing. In this box that I set my consoles on, I actually have all of my Atari controllers. So yeah, actually, and I also have my Odyssey 2 controllers. One of these doesn't work. I think, no, it's the other one. But, so yeah. Oh, you gotta have the stick stand. Mom, Dad, my Atari controller, it just slips out of my hand. Get the stick stand. It's so good. Just kidding, it's awful. But yeah, that's the armoire, and I think that wraps it up for my video game collection. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.